So, Sang, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Are you all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then is it you are connecting from Polonnaru?
Yes, sir.
Okay, today's session is on transactional analysis and assertiveness. Part 1 is on transactional analysis. Part 2 of today's lecture is on assertiveness. Okay, go to first this one, the transactional analysis. So this is, I hope you have not done yet under any course. So therefore, I hope this is going to be a new one. So transactional analysis. This is a very useful technique for you and also for me. It's a very useful technique for minimizing the occurrence of possible dysfunctional conflicts. Dysfunctional conflicts. What is this? So, conflicts are there. So then these conflicts we can divide into two types, functional conflicts and dysfunctional conflicts. There are certain conflicts, which are functional. So that means which are desirable. For example, assume there are two experts. So between these two experts, with regard to a certain problem, with regard to a certain problem, these two experts have two opinions, two solutions. Because they have two solutions, assume there is a conflict between these two experts. Now, this is not a dysfunctional conflict. This is a functional conflict. Then they can argue, they can, persuade, and then ultimately both, will be able to have a better solution for the problem. Better solution for the problem. So that type of conflict will lead to betterment. Betterment, better solution for a problem. So therefore, that is a functional conflict. That is desirable. That is desirable. So because of the conflict, if there is an improvement with regard to productivity, with regard to customer satisfaction, or with regard to any other, outcome variable, that is functional. But dysfunctional conflicts, they are indeed disturbing. They are indeed hurting, relationship among people, reducing productivity, reducing profits. They are dysfunctional conflicts. So therefore, definitely we want to minimize dysfunctional conflicts. Dysfunctional conflicts. Okay, so assume, there are two people, there are two professionals, and then because of a personal matter, nothing to do with business or the work life, because of a personal matter, those two people now, those two people are now involved in a conflict, assume. So they are involving in a conflict. So because of this conflict, other people also get disturbed, then the customers also get disturbed. That is dysfunction. That is dysfunction. Okay, so therefore, we are supposed to minimize dysfunctional conflicts. For that, this TA, transactional analysis, is a useful technique. Therefore, you are supposed to get a proper understanding of transactional analysis, hopefully after listening to me and after following this note thoroughly and seriously, you will be able to get that proper understanding. So it is a model of personality and also dynamics of yourself and also dynamics of your relationship to others, with other people, making a clear and meaningful discussion of your behavior. So therefore, this is about a meaningful discussion of behavior of people. This is about dynamics of self and its relationship to others. So indeed, it is a model of personality. So therefore, under transactional analysis, we are going to analyze and explain interpersonal behavior. We are going to analyze and explain interpersonal behavior. Right. So there is a transaction, there is a transaction. So let me pronounce in that way. There is a transaction in which one responds to another when people interact. Now I am, there is an interaction between you and I. I am teaching, you are following, you are listening, and you are following my lecture. I am teaching. So therefore, there is an interaction between you and I. This is a social transaction. This is a social transaction. Okay, so then I respond to you when you and I interact. Okay, so therefore, I will come to transactions specifically. There is a person, namely Professor Eric Burney. Eric Burney, psychiatrist, Dr. Eric Burney, yes, Dr. Eric Burney. Eric Burney, so assume my pronouncing is correct. Dr. Eric Burney developed this transaction analysis. Later, certain management professors came to know about this transaction analysis. Then they utilized this transaction analysis for management, including HRM. So in fact, this Dr. Eric Burney developed this transaction analysis in order to understand the relationship, interactions between the medical doctor and the patient. Relationship between the medical doctor and the patient, so as to give a better service to the patient. Better service to the patient. So later, the management scholars, they understood the utility of this transaction analysis in HRM. So that's why I am teaching. That's why you are supposed to learn. Okay, right. According to transactional analysis, there are 3 dimensions. Dimension 1, ego states. Dimension 2, life positions. Dimension 3, transactions. Let us learn first dimension. Now, ego states. So what do you mean by an ego? Ego states refer to behavioral patterns or psychological positions by which people interact with each other. Now you are listening to me, with a certain ego. I am teaching with a certain ego, So these ego states are of 3 types. Parent ego is one type, adult ego another type, the child ego, that's the 3rd type. So therefore, these ego states are parent, adult, and child. These are not related to the chronological age of a person, but they are related with the behavioral aspects of age. So you have behavioral aspects of your age. I have behavioral aspects of my age. So therefore, within you, also within myself, there are 3 people living. There are 3 parties. There are 3 persons living within myself. Within myself, there is a parent. Within myself, there is an adult. Within myself, there is a child. So therefore, within you also, there is a parent. You are not a parent now. Indeed, you are not a parent. But a parent is within you. There is a parent living within you psychologically. Not really physically. Because these things are not related to the chronological age. of a person. I am a parent. Also, I am an adult. But within myself, there is a child also living. Within myself, there is a child also living. So therefore, remember, under transactional analysis, these three ego states are living, existing within a particular person. Within a particular person. That means within you. These three people are living. Parent, adult, and child are living. Okay, now try to understand the meaning of each ego. Right. When a person presents parent ego, he or she instructs, protects, controls, nurtures, and criticizes the other person. Normally, okay, think of your father, think of your mother. One characteristic associated with your father or mother is criticizing. So mother is a person who does criticize about what you have been doing, what you have done, what you are going to do. Also, mother is a person indeed who does nurturing, nourishing you, nurturing you. Father is a person who does controlling, who does nurturing you, who does instructing you, who does protecting you. So therefore, if you instruct, if you protect someone, or if you instruct someone, if you control someone, if you nurture someone, if you criticize other people, then you are exhibiting, you are showing parent ego. Understand? Right. Then in case of adult ego, the person rationalizes, evaluates, and controls emotions. So therefore, if you use adult ego, then you have to, you should be rationalizing things. You should evaluate the things objectively by using certain criteria. Then you should control your emotions. You should control your moods. Emotions, moods. You should control. So then if I am controlling my emotions, then assume now I am controlling my emotions. I am controlling my emotion because I am using adult ego. Adult ego. Not ego, eh? So sometimes I might pronounce egos for easy. Okay, ego. It's okay. Right. Okay, so then in case of adult ego, then the person rationalizes, evaluates, and controls emotion. When a person represents child ego, he or she works according to emotions and tries to get immediate rewards. So it is a characteristic of a child to get immediate rewards. If the child wants to eat an ice cream, it is, we have to give that ice cream to that child. Otherwise, he will be, more likely he behaves aggressive or he cries. Okay, so that is child ego. Child ego. So if you work according to emotions without controlling your emotions, that means you are showing or you are using child ego. Right. Then parent ego involves nurturing and critical. Adult ego, which includes thoughtful concentration and factful study, gets formulated through one's own education, training, and experience. So when you use adult ego, you have to instruct. You not instruct, sorry. You have to rationalize. You have to evaluate. You have to control, various things. By using your education, by using your training, by using your experience. Usually, now education, experience, and training are three major modes that you get competencies, you get abilities. In other words, you get knowledge and skills, even attitude. Yes, attitude. Okay, right. Now go to this one, Exhibit 8.11, that gives characteristics of ego states. Further, several characteristics I have written here by using the relevant literature. Okay, go to parent. These are the characteristics. Usual parent type of attitude and behavior, always knows. So normally, if your father is an educated person, well-educated person, many times you must have experienced that he thinks he knows always. His or her wisdom is based on habitual thoughts, all sayings and quotations, a set of do's and don'ts. How many times, how many times were you taught by your father or by your mother not to do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that? How many times? I think many times, many times. So therefore, father is such a person who has a set of do's and don'ts about you. Mother also, same, the same. Right? Then reliance on ways those who were successful in the past. So, parents usually highly believe in the past, especially if the past, includes many successful things. Then they always attempt to follow their past experience. So therefore, they have reliance on ways, on ways those who were successful in the past. So can be so normally, how many times, I don't know whether, how many times you have heard your father, telling that, when I was, I did this successful. So indeed, I was successful. Then why can't you, in the past, this is how we have done. Why are you going to do now in a different way? I think your way is going to be unsuccessful because I was successful in the past. I am elder than you. I am your father or I am your mother. So why not? You also follow the same thing, same way. So these statements are usual coming from parents. Okay, can be two types, nurturing and critical. How many times did your mother ask you, did you get the lunch? Did you get the dinner? Did you get the breakfast? I think many times. Even your father. Also critical, they give, criticism. They criticize. That's why critical. Nurturing, they think of your protection. They think of your well-being. They think of your, standard of living. They nurture. They feed you. Right, nurturing. Then critical. Also, they may punish, if you make mistakes, if you do errors, they may punish you. Of course, they must have punished you. Your parents must have punished you, at least for several times by this time. Nurturing behavior. Yes, nurturing behavior not only towards children, but also to other people in interaction. So likewise, right, critical and evaluative behavior in interaction with others. Okay, then who is an adult? Characterizes the rational person, not an emotional person, basis on logical thinking and reasoning. Even scientific thinking is used by an adult. The person with adult ego views others as worthy and reasonable human beings, keeps and controls emotional expressions appropriately, uses a scientific and or systematic approach to problems, situations. That is the nature of an adult. Okay, as far as this theory is concerned, transactional analysis, TA, is concerned. Then child, dominated by emotions, characterized by non-logical and immediate actions resulting in immediate satisfaction. There are three types, three parts. So normally even three types of children: natural, adaptive, and rebellious. Natural child is affectionate, adharaniya, impulsive, sensuous, and does what comes naturally. However, he is also fearful, self-indulgent, self-centered, and aggressive, and may engage in many unpleasant roles, especially if his or her needs are not satisfied by the parents or by the relevant people. Natural child, okay. So then use self-indulgent, self-centered, thinking of himself or herself, rather than thinking of parents, rather than thinking of others. Then the adaptive child, that's a trained child, the trained child, trained one who was trained, and he or she is likely to do what parents insist on, and sometimes learns to feel non-okay when overly inhibited, overtraining. If the overtraining has happened to the child, often he or she becomes the trouble part of the personality. The person will become a trouble person, problematic person. The rebellion child, of course, experiences anger, fear, and frustration. Rebellion child. Okay, normally right. Okay. Then life positions. Second dimension of transactional analysis that you have to learn, that I have to teach. Life positions. You have a life position, I have a life position. What do you mean by a life position? That is a specific location or place where you are when dealing with other people. When you interact with other people, you interact by being in a specific location, by being in a specific place. That is your life position. Normally, a person has a dominant life position. There may be non-dominant life positions, but for every person, according to this theory, there is a dominant life position. Dominant means, frequent position. Frequently, you are in that position when you interact with others. Rarely, sometimes you may change. You may have a different life position. But in majority of the cases of interaction with others or interacting with others, you are in a one particular static, stable life position. You are in. That is the, what we call is a dominant life position. There are 4 life positions. Go to this figure. So you can see there are 4 life positions. Have a serious look and try to understand. Horizontally, attitude towards others. Think of yourself now. You have to understand, these 4 life positions relating to you, relating to your life. Try to understand. Okay, then attitude towards others means this is your attitude about others, including myself. What is your attitude about me? What is your attitude about your friends and other people, parents and all? And also this one vertically, attitude about, attitude towards self or about you. This is your attitude about you. So from my point of view, this is my attitude about me. This is my attitude about you and others. Okay, in that way, try to understand. Right. Then here, negative. Go to this quadrant. Negative. That means, I am not okay, you are not okay. This means, right. This is a combination, this is a combination of 2 things. What are the 2 things? Your attitude about yourself is not good. That's why I am not okay. then your attitude about me and others is also not good. That's why you are not okay. You are not okay. From my point of view, my attitude about me is bad, therefore I am not okay. My attitude about you also is bad, that's why you are not okay. Okay, in that way try to understand. Then here the positive. That means my attitude about me is good, therefore I am okay. But my attitude about you and others is bad, therefore you are not okay. You are not okay. All right? Then go to this one. Attitude toward others, that means, okay, from your point of view, your attitude about others is positive. Therefore, you are okay. You means others, be intelligent. This is from your point of view. Right. Then your attitude about you is bad. Therefore, I am not okay. So therefore, I means you. Right. Then from your perspective, this combination, try to understand. I am okay, you are okay. That means your attitude about others is positive. Your attitude about yourself is positive. Therefore, you are okay, I am okay. Understood? Any questions? Okay, then I have further further described here, so you can read and then try to understand. I am not okay and you are not okay, Conran. So this is a desperate life position, This is a desperate life position. Very bad. Desperate life position. Never, be in this life position. I am not okay, you are not okay. In extreme cases, the relevant person commits suicide or homicide or both. In extreme cases, if there is a person who is in this desperate life position, it is possible that he can kill others and also he can kill himself. The person tends to make mistakes or otherwise provoke others to give him or her negative reactions. Some people behave in that way. Okay, so I am not okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what do you mean by okay? The okay is good and not okay is bad?
Yes. Okay means positive, not okay means negative. All right? All right.
Okay, sir.
So that this is about, okay, this is about, I am not okay means your attitude, your attitude about yourself is bad. Then you are okay. Your attitude about others is bad. Sorry, you are okay means your attitude about others is positive. Okay, maybe vice versa also you can think no problem. But, understand in this way. Understand in this way, there are two types of attitude. Attitude about you and attitude about others. Attitude about you and attitude about others. Okay, go to this one. Desperate means, assume I am in this position, then I hate you. I hate others. I hate parents. I hate my teachers. Then I also hate, I am also hating myself. I hurt myself. I try to hurt myself. I try to hurt yourself. Because I am desperate. I am in a desperate life position. Everything in this world seems to be very bad to me. Or indeed not seems. They are bad to me. They became unfavorable, useless. All right? So therefore, being okay, understand, that is positive. not okay means negative. Okay, then this one, this position, this is a life position taken by a person who has less power compared with others. That's why, okay, let me, from my point of view, let me further explain. You are okay. That means you are more powerful than me. You know more than I know. You have more experience than I have. Therefore, you are okay. But I am not okay. Understood? This is a life position taken by a person who has less power. This one, the other side, the vice versa, this is a life position taken by a person who has more power compared with others. Assume I am more powerful than you. I am richer than you. I am more knowledgeable than you. Therefore, then my attitude about you is negative. But my attitude about myself is very positive. That's why I am okay. But you are not okay. You are useless or you are not valuable. I am valuable. I am useful. That's the way. Okay, right. Then what is this one? Of course, life position taken by a person who is having a positive, dominant way of relating to others. So then if your attitude about others is good, then you tend to have a good relationship with others. Good relationships with others. If you have bad attitude about others, then you don't feel like associating with them. You don't feel like having a good relationship with them because you hate them. You don't like to see them. Okay, but in this situation, you have a good attitude about others. You have a good attitude about you. All right? Right. Generally, a life position tends to be static. Previously, I mentioned. Right. Ideally, one must have the fourth life position. Then out of these four, ideally, you must be here. I want you to be here. I hope you are here. You should be here. Indeed, I am here. I believe you are also here. You are also here. Never be here. Sometimes you may be here. I might be here. You may be here. I might be here. Or you might be here. I may be here sometimes. But predominantly, frequently, you should be here. So therefore, ideally, the fourth life position in order to become a successful employee or manager in an organization. So if you want to be a successful employee or if you want to be a successful manager, you must have what? The fourth life position. That is, I am okay, you are okay. That's the desirable position. And the one that involves the greatest likelihood of adult to adult transactions. Not the child to child, parent to parent, or parent to child, or child to parent. But here the adult to adult, ego is state, adult. So therefore the greatest likelihood of adult to adult transactions is I am okay, you are okay. Okay, because it shows the healthy acceptance of self. You have a healthy acceptance of yourself. Let me ask, how to check whether you have a right attitude about yourself. We can ask him, some simple question. Do you respect you? Do you believe in you? Do you regard you? Do you thank you? If the answer is yes for those questions, then you have a healthy acceptance of yourself. And also the respect for others. Most likely leading to constructive communication, not destructive communications. Productive conflicts. That means functional conflicts, not dysfunctional conflicts. And mutually satisfying confrontation collaborations. That means win-win solutions. But of course, normally, if let us take a person, who had many, well, let us take a person, when he was born, his mother was not living. Assume, a child, a boy. Then he didn't, assume his father married to another person, a stepmother who, badly treated this child. Then, this child couldn't get, assume, sufficient education. From many people, this child was, neglected, not respected, not admired, not praised, but, discredited, humiliated. Then, of course, that type of child is where? Here. I am not okay, you are not okay. In this world, there are many criminals. Okay, think of the criminals. These people were here. Or here. I am okay, you are not okay. There are some criminals having killed, several people. They still argue that they are right. Then they get the service of relevant lawyers. There are lawyers also who work on behalf of such criminals because of money. Because of money. Okay, all right. Then transactions. Now, the third dimension of the TA, transaction analysis. So what do you mean by a transaction? There are two technical terms. One is stimulus, the other one is response. When I was teaching about negotiation also, I talked about this. Stimulus and response. Stimulus and response. Assume I call you now, that is a stimulus. Then how do you respond? That is your response. Assume you cry, or you in return is call me. That is your response. Or you keep silent. Keeping silent is also a response. Or you engages in pardoning, getting pardon. Response. You engaging. Okay, so therefore, when a stimulus, that may be verbal, that may be non-verbal, from one person, and a response from another person occur, that is a transaction. Okay, a transaction occurs when a stimulus from person A and a response from person B occur. Okay, right. Now let us try to learn further. Each transaction roots from one of the three ego states. I never forget this one. From this theory, each transaction roots from one of the three ego states. Depending on the ego states of the persons involved in the transactions, three types of transactions we can see. Complementary, cross, and ulterior. There are complementary transactions. There are cross transactions. There are ulterior transactions. Transactions. Somala transactions කියලා කියන අපේ කට section කියන එකට යොමු වෙනවා මොකද වැඩිපුර sections කියලා කියනවා. These are transactions. Let me pronounce in that way. Transactions. Right. A person who sends a message to another person from a particular ego state expects to receive a response from a certain ego state from the other person. Assume I make a stimulus on my part, by using a certain ego. Assume I am using an adult ego. So for my, my stimulus, derived from my adult ego. Then I expect an adult, not an adult ego, a child ego from you. I expect a child ego from you. So then I expect a response deriving from or rooting from your child ego. Then if, in fact, if I got the response that is really deriving from child ego from you, then my transaction is complementary. My transaction is complementary. So what is complementary transaction? If the expected or predicted response occurs, that transaction is called complementary. Okay, go to this figure, then you will understand. For the first time, you may find it difficult to understand, right? Okay, go to this example. Figure 8.7. An example of complementary transaction. Here, general manager. So within general manager, parent is living, adult is living, child is living. Here there is human resource manager. Within human resource manager, child is living, adult is living, parent is living. Okay, then general manager makes a stimulus. What is that? Asking a question. How long do you want to finish the survey report? Then, expecting, this general manager made, the general manager asked this question by using adult ego, expecting an adult ego from HR manager. Then indeed HR manager responded by using his adult ego, like in this way. I need 4 days because it has a data analysis. This is a transaction, what is called complementary transaction. As far as a complementary transaction is concerned, there is no conflict. There is no barrier for further communication. It is possible to have further communication after this without a conflict. Here there is no conflict. There is no possibility of occurring a conflict. There may be many transactions, within even a very short time. Several complementary transactions. But if they are complementary, then no problem. There's no barrier for further transfer, further communication. There's no conflict. Another example. Here there are two parties. One is HR director, the other one is assistant human resource manager. HR director, made a stimulus. You had better participate in that meeting. You had better participate in that meeting. What is the meaning of this? In that meeting. So that means, you had better means, kind of commanding. If you use in grammar, in the English grammar, if you use you had better, that means, there is a command. There is a command. So therefore, you should, something like, you should participate in that meeting. In other words, you should participate in that meeting. There is a command. Okay, then using a parent ego, HR director, they used parent ego, expecting a child ego. Child ego. Then indeed, assistant human resource manager gave a response deriving from child ego. Yes, sir. Then no problem. So even in this situation also, there is a parent ego, there is a child ego. Not like this. Here, adult ego. Adult ego and the adult ego from general manager, adult ego from HR manager. Here, parent ego from HR director, yes. HR director, and child ego from assistant HR manager. Here also no problem, no complaint. That's why complementary. All right. Then non-complementary. What do you mean by non-complementary? Alternatively, cross-transaction. Cross occurs when the stimulus and response lines are not parallel. Not parallel. This happens when the person who initiates transaction does not get the expected response. Okay, I expected a certain response from you, which I did not get. And then the transaction occurred between you and I is non-complementary or cross-transaction. Cross-transaction. So here this is not a satisfactory one. Normally the line of communication is blocked, and therefore further transaction may not take place. There may be a conflict after this. Go to this one, figure 8.9. That gives an example of cross-transaction, which please try to understand. Here there are two parties. One is HR manager, the other one is production manager. Okay? Then HR manager, by using adult ego, here, what do you think about our forthcoming collective bargaining? Expecting what? HR manager expected an adult response from production manager, but did not get. Instead, HR manager got a child response. Child response. Okay, so I don't know. It's your problem, not mine. I don't know. It's your problem, not mine. Kind of, aggressive behavior, aggressive response. This response is aggressive, not friendly, hurting. Therefore, there's a cross. This is called cross transaction. Then, whether, they are going to be a conflict or not depends on the next response of human resource manager. If that is also an adult, more likely there will not be a, more likely there will not be a conflict, does not. But if the next response from HR manager becomes an aggressive one, like child one, that may lead to a conflict, possible. Something like, what the hell, or something, a response like, what the hell are you talking? We all are working for one company. It is your problem also that it is not only my problem. Therefore, you have to, something like. And then what will be the response of production manager? Collective bargaining, all these things come under HR. So you are the HR manager. I am involving in production. So I am supposed to be worried about production. So don't try to, put your problems on me. I have a hell of problem. So assume that type of response comes from production manager. Maybe by using a parent ego, a critical parent, rather than nurturing parent, helping parent, or rebellious child, aggressive response. Okay, this is another example of cross-transaction. Cross-transaction. Here there are two HR executives, HR executive A, HR executive B. Then HR executive, asks this question. Can you please help me to finish this data analysis? So HR executive asks, he's asking a question like, this is the stimulus deriving from the child ego of the HR executive. child ego of the HR executive. Expecting a parent type, nurturing parent ego from this HR executive. That is HR executive B. But he did not, respond in that expected way. Instead, he used rebellious child. What? I have problems of my own. This is cross then. Cross transaction. Right. Then the third type of transaction, an ulterior transaction. That always involves more than two ego states, and don't forget this one. Always there is a hidden message. Hidden message that is often not revealed, disguised in some socially acceptable form. In some socially acceptable form, because in order to avoid the conflict, there is a hidden message, but that is often disguised, that is not going to be revealed. Instead, the revealed transaction is another one, message is another one. That is usually positive. Hidden may be negative. Usually negative. Right. Ulterior transactions, alternative to call as covered or duplex transactions. So they are the most complex among the three types of transactions. Now there are three types, complementary, non-complementary, and ulterior. Why are ulterior transactions, more complex, or the most complex as far as the three types are concerned? Because they involve double meaning. That's the thing. They involve double meaning. Okay, look at this example. Try to understand. HR manager. To do an employee attitude survey may be somewhat difficult for you. To do an employee attitude survey may be somewhat difficult for you. HR manager. Using an adult ego. Then there is expecting an adult, response deriving from adult ego from this person, HR executive. Then he got really that. I think if you instruct me, I will be able to do it. I think if you instruct me, I will be able to do it. But hidden message, this is the hidden one. Parent ego and child ego. Instead of adult ego. Adult ego, yes. You are not qualified to do it. That's the hidden message from HR manager. You are not qualified to do it. That's why you can't do, You are not qualified to do it. But, this response, is disguised. It is not made open. In order to avoid an embarrassment, in order to avoid hurting, in order to avoid a conflict. What is revealed is this one. Then here also what is revealed is this one, but this is not revealed. This is disguised. Oh, I can't do it genuinely. Genuinely, this person has no competence to do a survey, an attitude survey, employee attitude survey. Because, because of maybe, what this person is not revealing that truth, hiding it, rather than directly telling, sorry, sir, I have never studied how to do attitude surveys. So therefore, I don't know attitudes, how to do attitude surveys. Can you please teach me? Then hopefully I will be able to. Rather than, using that type of response. In reality, similar things can happen. Of course, have happened. I have observed many times. Okay, go to this figure also. Another example of ulterior transaction. Manager A, manager B. This is the message given to B. We have to solve Mrs. Rani's problem of salary increment and promotion. Shall we discuss about it now? Hidden, this is really a headache. But that is not explicit. I mean, that is not revealed. Then here, what is revealed from manager A is this. Okay, we shall do it now because this has been dragging for a long time. So in fact, what is the hidden message? I don't think we should, I don't think we can give a promotion. Nanna hitanne promotion එක දෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. නමුත් promotion එකක් දෙන්න බෑ කියලා එකපාරට කියන්නේ. Because that is usually not a good thing from a manager. ඔයා කාට promotion එකක් දෙනවට වඩා හොඳයි transfer එකක් දෙන එක. අපි හිතමු එහෙම කියලා ඇත්තටත් from the point of manager B. But that is, some people reveal at once, but some people don't do that. Especially more professional people, they don't reveal. Later, maybe, they have an intention of revealing. If the opportunity, a right opportunity comes. All right. Any questions? Now let me show some, camera pictures. No, the pictures of, transaction analysis. Look at this one. Have a serious look at that. Can you describe? Can you describe before explaining? Can you describe? Describing means giving characteristics, features of the picture. Now this is inside of a home. There is an event happening inside a home or inside of a home. Now that is one description. Another description, there are 4 people. There are 4 people. Another description, there are 3 males. There are 3 males. Another description, there is 1 female. There is 1 female. Another description, the father is there and also mother is there. Parents are there. Another description, 2 children are there. 2 children are there. Then this elder child, is talking, in some way. It seems that the talking way is making this person surprised or embarrassed or hurt. Look at his face. That doesn't show a positive sign. This one, look at the mouth. Okay, now, what is the statement this person made or this elder son made? Don't try to tell me what is right. I have lived a lot longer than you, young man. Then the parents, they got surprised from this statement. Came from or coming from their, elder son. Their elder son. Young man. This person also, this person is not a man. This person is a child. This person also is a child. But how the language? Now can you explain? Now can you explain? Reasons. This person wants to control this person. The elder son wants to control younger son, brother, younger brother. Or second son, from the point of parents, or younger brother, from the point of the elder brother. Also, the reason for this, within this younger brother also there is an adult ego living. Not the younger brother, elder brother. Even though this person is a child, within this person there is an adult ego. There is a parent ego. Not only a child ego. So in fact, this person is using not an adult ego because this is hurting, embarrassed, making this person embarrassed, emotionally bad, making this person feel emotionally bad. Also this, while, being, this person himself, emotionally, this person, okay, not showing what? The controlling of his emotion, an aggressive way. That means using a parent ego, critical parent, not nurturing parent. Understood? Maybe looking at these space, perhaps they are showing child ego, even though they are actually parents. But it seems that the elder son is playing the parent's role to their younger son. Okay, likewise, think, right. Okay, then go to this one. Boss subordinate. Do you notice the time? This one. This is open, this is hidden. And then what type of transaction here? Ulterior transaction. Because there's a hidden message. Dotted arrows, both show the hidden message. In fact, two messages. Did you notice the time? Subordinate, yes, it is 3 o'clock. I am trying. Yes, it is 3 o'clock. I am trying. But inside, maybe you can try to develop a statement. Maybe like, shit, this person is really making me delay. Something like, look at his face. This, frowning, something, frowning. Not wage, indeed, yes. Critical parent. In fact, the child, helpless child. But really, yes, it is 3 o'clock, I am trying. So in fact, you can see this person used adult ego. This, for the, stimulus came from this person by using his adult ego. Because, there are two adult egos. There's no possibility of occurring a conflict state. So, right. Okay, then here, look at this one. First class, want to see my etchings, something. What is it? Etchings, design, rough designs, pictures. Want to see my etchings? I love etchings, Adult responses, but inside child. No problem. In this case also, no problem. There's no possibility of occurring a conflict. Okay, have a serious look at this one. Parent, adult, child. Here the manager, here the clerical employee. Let me say clerk, yes. Here the clerk, here the manager, superior. Here the subordinate. You see frowning while reading it. Now this person, here is that contract letter for you to sign. Sasham C has given the letter, then manager had a look, serious look at it, then understood that what? There are errors. Then got upset, frowning while reading it. But manager did not reveal this, response did not reveal, coming from parent ego. What did the manager reveal? The response deriving from adult ego. This person, of course, looking distraught and over busy. Distraught can be exhausted, tired, looking distraught and over busy. Look at her face. But not showing that one. Not showing, I am really tired, I have been working for many hours. Today I'm really tired. I don't feel like working. Something, those things, are not revealed by the clerk in front of her boss. Here also there's no possibility of occurring a conflict, even though inside. Right? Can you remember, especially, you can engage in many ulterior transactions without having conflicts with other people. What? Provided that you must be very good, or you must be good at one personality trait. Can you think of that personality trait which I taught you when I was teaching about individual differences in terms of personality? In terms of personality, I taught you about individual differences in terms of personality, in terms of ability, in terms of values. Go to personality. One personality trait. Can you remember? Self-monitoring. Self-monitoring. So that means, there is inside something which you don't reveal in order to avoid conflict, or in order to get a help, or in order to get a favor from the other person. Instead, you show a response which is liked by the other person or which doesn't hurt the other person. Inside, it is hurting. But if you are not very good, or if you are not good at self-monitoring, then what is inside you are going to reveal outside also. What is inside you are going to reveal. Assume, okay, right. If this person, assume this person is going to reveal inside, frowning while reading it. This frowning, then the body language is made open. That means this person actually engages in frowning, body language, using body language, and even some, verbal communication. Or this time also there are errors. There are 2 errors. I don't know. It is better for me. I wish I could type this letter. Something like then hurting really. Mama make type karana ito ada. You are there not to help me. You are there to, you are here not to help me. You are here to disturb me. Yes. Maybe conflicts then, depending on the responses of this person. The response is Mamat Manusi. Answer Uday Indala and Kuchara Vedakara. Interval get Vedakara. Lunch to the Avaikat Mamagatina, Payati and lunch away Mangati, Vinati Tispa. Name of Vedakara and Pulan. Something like. Then, so you can it is possible in reality. Some people can control emotions, hidden things. Some people can't. Examples of complementary transactions. How long will it take to get the data? I can have it in 1 week. Adult egos. Adult ego to adult ego. And how about a game of tennis? A child ego to child ego. This person expected a child response, indeed got. Then complementary. Transaction is complementary. Let us leave early and play. Another one. These are also complementary transactions. There are no conflicts. 2 transactions are there. You had better get that done on schedule. Yes. Expected a child ego, actually got child ego. This person expected a child ego from this person, got the child ego. No problem. This person, okay, I can't figure this out at all. This person expected a parent ego. In fact, this person got that expected ego. Don't worry about it. It will be all right. Okay, now applications of transaction analysis for conflict resolution. Now try to learn how to apply transaction analysis for conflict resolution. Okay, so we can use transaction analysis to resolve conflict or to minimize the occurrence of conflict. What is the key here? The key is skillful use of the adult ego state. To what extent can you use this one? To that extent, you are going to be successful in solving conflict. The lesser you can use, then of course you are, the lesser you are going to be successful in solving problems, conflicts. The greater you can use what? The adult ego state. The higher or greater you are going to be successful in conflict resolution or conflict handling. Right. Major ways of applying. Let me give now. The first one, use of an adult bossing style, especially in case of between a superior and a subordinate. Then a superior can use an adult bossing style in order to avoid a possible conflict. Go to this vignette and try to understand. My question is there a possibility of occurring a conflict in this vignette? Mr. Anand is the manager HR and administration in a public firm, and he has joined the firm 2 years ago. He supervises 3 assistant HR managers. One of them has 8 years experience in the firm and is not a university graduate. He is Mr. L, say Lal. One day, Ananda speaks to Lalit. Lalit, he is Mr. L or Lalit. Okay. One day, Ananda speaks to Lalit. Lalit, I have an important work to be done by you for next week. You will have to do the whole coordination of the induction program for our new management trainees. Okay, the company has hired new management trainees. Then the HR department has to do an induction program, and then the whole coordination of the induction program. The HR manager is intending to, hand over that all coordination to Mr. Lally. Then what was the response from Mr. Lally? The subordinate response, oh, I have a hell of work. Why don't you give it to another? Always me. How can you analyze now by using transaction analysis, what you have learned so far? Lalit, I have an important work to be done for you. You will have to, what ego is take. Did human resource manager use? Parent ego. More likely. And then this one, the response, what type of ego state did the subordinate use? Oh, I have a hell of work. Why don't you give it to another? Always me. Rebellious child, child ego. Showing, an uneasiness and emotionally not good. Not showing respect to the boss, to the superior. Anand, or maybe more like you can even say, this is also kind of parent ego. This person expected a child ego. What type of child ego? Or not really, an adult ego, something like, or child ego. Yes, sir, something. That means obedient child. Okay, not the disobedient child. Child may be rebellious, child may be affectionate. Right, then Ananda replies, oh yes, I understand that you are very busy with our 2 training programs for production staff and marketing staff. You see, now Ananda is replying by using his adult ego, not the parent ego, not the child ego. Why I decided to give to you is that you are the most experienced in this firm, having 8 years of hard work, a kind of appreciation, giving a kind of recognition. In the context of transactional analysis, this type of motivation is called stroking. not stroking, sorry, striking. Okay, let me here, no, stroking, sorry, not striking, sorry, stroking can become nalavano, atagano, you know, this stroking, yes. You know, comforting something like stroking. Stroke again, shock, try to understand. Right. It is indeed, you know, motivation, yes. Kind of motivation. Right. Then the subordinate response. Now, you know, you know, earlier Lalit got parent ego. Now, you know, Lalit got the adult ego from his boss. Now the response, you know, got changed from Lalit. Don't misunderstand. I am really exhausted. Ananda replies. I really appreciate what, you know, don't misunderstand. I am really exhausted. This is kind of, you know, adult response, you know, an adult type response. Or this is a response deriving from adult ego. I really appreciate what you have been doing. We will use our 3 interns, you know, the interns, you know, the people who are trainees, you know, who are getting internship. Interns from the university to help you. To finish the induction program, it will take 1 week. After that, I will approve leave for you for days you wish to take. Lalit responds, okay, give me those 3 interns, I will handle the thing. You see, the human resource director used adult bossing style, this one. An adult bossing style. Then it was possible for the human resource manager to get the work done through his subordinate without having a conflict. Yes, there is a possibility of occurring a conflict. My question was, is there a possibility of occurring a conflict? The answer, I have written here, yes, there's a possibility of occurring a conflict owing to an emotional issue. Here Ananda initiated his interaction with Lalit by using parent to child pattern. You know, obedient child, not rebellious child. Although Ananda expected adoptive child, you see, adoptive child, obedient child, ego, from Lalit, he did not get it. Instead, he got rebellious child, ego, from Lalit. Then Ananda replied by using the adult ego. Another important thing to note here is that Ananda did an act of recognition for Lalit with regard to his experience and hard work. Okay, right. That act of recognition can be labeled as stroking. Right. Stroking applies, you know, to all types of recognition, such as physical, example, you know, a pat on the back, a firm handshake, then verbal and non-verbal. Okay, then second application of the transaction analysis. Use of the adult ego to cross transactions. In reality, you may experience many cross transactions which may lead to conflicts, or which will definitely lead to conflicts. Then you must be enough competent to avoid such conflicts by using the adult ego. Okay, so when cross transactions which are desirable for communication, productivity, and job satisfaction occur, one effective way of using transaction TA is to neutralize them by using the adult ego. Since the adult is problem-solving oriented and non-emotional, it is difficult to remain angry when facing a series of in fact, series of, okay, series of adult or set off, let me say easily set off, yes, let me set off adult transactions. The adult transaction responses කලාකාරී පුද්ගලයෙකුට උනත් කලාකාරීත්වයෙන් අයින් වෙලා normal වෙන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. Generally it happens. Generally it happens. If you continuously, utilize a chain of, something, a set of adult transactions for repeated responses, which are cross or which are, not the expected things, not really adult from the other party. Adult ego type, right? Look at this vignette. So my question is what? Are there cross transactions? My question. Are there cross transactions? Read the vignette and try to understand. Mr. Wilson is a chief executive officer in a firm and he's on a business journey to another country. And he's now before an airline ticket counter of the airport where he is in transit. Transit කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් එක ප්ලේන් එකකින් තවත් ප්ලේන් එකකට මාරු වෙනවා. ඒතකොට ඉස්සලා එක තැනක බස්සලා ඊට පස්සේ ටික වෙලා ගියාට පස්සේ ඊළඟට ආපහු අනිත් ප්ලේන් එක ආවට පස්සේ තමයි යන්න වෙන්නේ. Then Mr. Wilson, when is the flight to Tokyo? Count employee. Sorry to say, it is late by 1 hour. Mr. Wilson, what? 1 hour late? Shit. I have a lot of things to do. Count employee. Sorry, sir. Mr. Wilson, sorry, doesn't solve my problem. Count employee again. There is a storm at Tokyo. Mr. Wilson, your people have a lot of reasons. You are the people who suffer. Sorry, we are the people who suffer. Again, ඔගොල්ලෝගේ මිනිස්සුන්ට ඕන තරම් හේතු තියෙනවා. නමුත් අපි තමයි දුක් විඳින්නේ අපිට තමයි දුක් විඳින්නේ. We are the people who suffer. Count employee. Sir, all the flights from Tokyo got late. We are indeed sorry to make you late. Examine, all the responses from the count employee, all the responses. Examine. This is a factful one, and using ego state. Adult ego state. This one also adult ego state, state. This one also adult ego. Then Mr. Wilson again, rebellious child ego. Hereafter, I will never travel by your airline and also never recommend it to anyone. Again, you can see, adult ego response. Sir, I can arrange you to stay a local hotel. Facility is free. Perhaps you can visit the surrounding. Otherwise, sir, you can read these 2 newspapers. They are today's papers. Mr. Wilson, no, I have visited the surrounding several times. Okay, I can bear 1 hour. Give me the 2 papers. You see, this person, engage in a set of what? Adult responses. This one, adult transactions. It is difficult to remain, So then Mr. Wilson, it was difficult for Mr. Wilson to remain angry. Because the count employee used a set of adult transactions. Ultimately, he became cool. Then he had to use then the adult, ego. then it was possible, for the count employee to avoid a possible conflict. So the questions, what was the question? Are there cross transactions? Yes, there are cross transactions. The count employee used a chain of adult responses, which were hard to receive by the customer. That is Mr. Wilson. Customer was Mr. Wilson, so who was not reinforced for his angry behavior. The Megadera reinforced for his angry behavior. The angry behavior kat dawa mamadana angry behavior. Ubadana angry behavior. Torene mage angry behavior reinforced. Ita pase aya mama tawa ita wada loku angry behavior kata. Ewa tamai yang. This is how conflicts occur. The angry customer berated the count employee who could diffuse the undesirable situation by using the adult ego state to cross transactions. An interesting example, vignette. I hope you understood. Read again and again, several times. Hopefully you will be able to understand further. Then third one, regarding what? How to apply this transaction analysis to minimize the occurrence of conflicts or avoid conflicts. The use of the adult ego to ulterior transactions to get clues of hidden messages. Clues, signals of hidden messages. The hidden messages, you can use the adult ego to ulterior transactions. Then you will be able to get clues of hidden messages. Then hopefully you will be able to avoid conflicts. Okay, look at this one now. Dr. Pereira is director of the MBA programs of the City University of Colombo. He wants to type an important brief report to be submitted to the board meeting, which has been scheduled to be held at 5 p.m. today. His secretary does typing. Dr. Pereira, Veena, have you finished typing the report? Veena, no sir, I will finish it in 5 minutes. Shows no smile. You see, this is within brackets, you can see the hidden message. Shows no smile, non-verbal message. Kind of, yes, physical message. Dr. Pereira, after 5 minutes. Veena, right? Veena, yes, sir. Now I am printing. Looking at her watch. Hidden, message. Then Dr. Pereira, he gets the report and has a glance through it. He finds 7 errors in the report. He becomes angry, but sits on anger. Not, revealing, expressing the anger. Sits on anger. This is another hidden message happening, within Dr. Pereira. Oh, but anyway, what was revealed by the Dr. Pereira? Oh, there are 7 errors. Let me mark them. Okay, go and correct them. Veena. Okay, read, then you try to understand. She looks at her watch again and realizes that now time is 4:35 p.m. and her leaving time, 4:15 p.m. has passed. Dr. Pereira makes a look at her typing. She has no smile and seems to be distraught and over busy. He looks at time too and then realizes that she has worked 20 minutes extra without complaining. These days she has been working hard, and yesterday too she has left the work at 4:30 p.m. You see, understanding reality. understanding reality. Veena, here is the report. She gives the report to her boss without telling, sir, and looking really tired and hurry to go home. Dr. Pereira, he checks the error correction and finds one error being not corrected. He gets a frowning. He can keep 7 errors. 6 errors were corrected, but still remaining 1 error, not correct. Oh, you have missed correcting 1 error. No? He expressed that. Anyway, don't worry. You see? Anyway, don't worry. I will correct you. Veena, you can go home now. Thank you for your hard work. She gives a good smile and tells, sir, then I go. You see? Try to understand. From the vignette. According to the vignette, there are several ulterior transactions. Superior could understand the underlying feelings of the subordinate by using the adult ego, and then he was able to prevent from building a bad relationship between the two parties. So likewise, then Samani Jivite Munadil Devadiyat Baran. Try to use this theory. In my life, I used this theory at many situations. Still I am using, I will have to use even in future. But many years ago, I could not use this theory because I did not know this theory. Right, then 4, use of I am okay, you are okay life position for win-win solution. Use of I am okay and you are okay life position for win-win solution. Okay, to get a win-win solution, what do we require? Collaborating conflict management style. Collaboration, collaborating style, integrative style. In terms of negotiation, integrative, cooperative negotiation, we do need, not competitive negotiation. Right, collaborate, how many conflicts management styles have you learned? So normally, there are several, accommodating style, accommodating style, compromising style. Can you remember? Okay, I will show you one thing. Time is going, but anyway. Can you remember the 5, styles introduced by Professor Thomas? Conflict management styles. You must have learned these styles when you were learning organizational behavior, or maybe you have done psychology in counseling, you have done human resource development. I don't know under which subject you have learned. Anyway. Okay, look at this one. Is this familiar to you? If not, now try to understand. Conflict management styles. From that famous theory, proposed by Professor Thomas in 1976, yes. So you can see here vertically assertiveness. Horizontally, you can see here cooperativeness. Assertiveness and cooperativeness. So what is assertiveness in this context? concern for self. They can over gana vitarak moana, again assertiveness. The over anitikina soana anikina gana hitanana again cooperativeness in this context, in this theory. That is concern for others. Okay? So what is cooperativeness? That's the extent to which the relevant person has concern for others, for other party. So what is assertiveness then? That's the extent to which the person has the concern for himself or herself without considering the other party. Okay, right. Then assertiveness here is high, that is assertive. Then low, that is unassertive. Unassertive. Then here the cooperativeness, low, uncooperative. High, cooperative. You know, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, likewise, 100, you can go. No? I think you can understand. Then if there is unassertiveness and uncooperativeness, then there is a complete management style that is called avoiding. Avoiding style. If you use this style, you don't have concern for yourself. Also, you don't have concern for others. You are not interested in solving the problem. You forget it and you go away. That is avoiding. Then accommodating. What is accommodating? Right. Cooperative, you know. You have concern for others. That is cooperative. But you don't have concern for yourself. Unnecessarily. You don't care about yourself. It doesn't matter what happens to you. But what matters is what happens to the other person. So you are concerned with the well-being of the other person. You let the other person win while accepting the loss or the losing or defeating. That is called accommodating. Then this one competing. That means you have a very high concern for yourself. You want to achieve your goals. You want to protect your human rights. By being uncooperative, no cooperativeness, no concern for others, or the other party or the other people. That is called competing. So you want to win by defeating the other person, competing. This one collaborating. That means you have a high concern for yourself. Also you have a high concern for other person. This one compromising. You have a concern for yourself to a significant extent. Here also you have a concern for other to a significant extent. That is compromising, not fully, but here fully. Full concern is there. But here maybe partial or to a certain extent. In this way, both parties can win under compromising, but to a significant extent. But here, fully, both parties can win to a great extent. Maybe here to a moderate extent. Let me say precisely to a moderate extent. Here winning is moderate, moderate. Winning is at moderate extent. Here winning is at very high extent or high extent. Okay, right. I'm not spending much time on this one. You must have learned this. Anyway, so now I was teaching about this principle, right? Under applying transaction analysis. Use of I am okay, you are okay, life position for win-win solution. All right. Then fifth one, to understand the relationship between transaction analysis and conflict management styles, right? I reminded 5 conflict management styles proposed by Professor Thomas, right? There are probable relationships among ego states. Now there are 3 ego states: parent, adult, and child. Then under parent, there is nurturing, there is critical. So likewise, under child, rebellious child, adaptive child, obedient child, like the life positions, 3 life positions. Can you remember? Not 3 life positions, 4 life positions. I am okay, you are okay. I am okay, you are not okay. I am not okay, you are okay. I am not okay, you are not okay. 4 life positions. And then complete management styles, accommodating, compromising, collaborating or integrating, competing, accommodating. Yes, or accommodating. What is the other one? Yes. Okay. Yes, withdrawing. Then complete management styles, so strategies. Right. Now go to this exhibit. Withdrawing or avoiding. Yes. Withdrawing is an alternative term to this one, the avoiding style. Right. Exhibit 8.2. Probable relationship among life positions, ego states, and conflict management styles. Try to understand. Life position, I am okay and you are okay. Then ego state, adult. Conflict management style, collaborating or compromising. Probable extent of assertive and cooperative behaviors, both assertiveness and cooperativeness in very high. Both assertiveness and cooperativeness are at very high extent or in very high. Both are high. Then life position, I am okay, you are not okay. Then parent, ego state. Then complete management style, competing. Want to win. If you are the I am okay as you are, I am okay, then you want to win. Therefore, you use competing. Then high assertiveness and low assertiveness. Sorry, low cooperativeness. Low concern for the other person. So likewise, okay, please, in case of accommodating, right, this one, I'm not okay and you are okay, then accommodating, yes. Child ego, low assertiveness and high cooperativeness. Letting the other person win, yes. This one avoiding, I am not okay and you are not okay. Low assertiveness and low cooperativeness. Okay, dear students, I think this is enough for transaction analysis. Okay, then. Okay, then let us resume. Next part of today's lecture is on assertiveness. This is a very, very important skill that you should develop when it comes to interpersonal competencies. You may have heard about assertiveness, also this one, assertiveness, concern for yourself. This one also, assertiveness, concern for self. From that famous Professor Thomas theory on conflict management styles. Okay, assertiveness. But here, we are going to learn more specifically, especially in the context of developing good relationships by avoiding conflicts. Therefore, we are going to learn in detail this concept, assertiveness, this competence, this skill or this ability, right? So it's a critical trait that you must possess in order to be a successful leader. I will deliver one lecture on leadership, which is a different lecture, not a normal lecture on leadership in future. So then for becoming a successful leader also, you must have assertiveness. Also, to become a successful follower, you must need this assertiveness. Indeed, to live happily and peacefully, you will have to use assertiveness to a great extent. Even, because you should protect yourself. You should not let others, exploit you. You should not, let others wash their hands on your head. You should protect your human rights while, maintaining, while respecting others, while, respecting others without violating others' human rights. You should try to protect your human rights without violating human rights of other people. How? One major strategy is this one. Be assertive. Use assertiveness. Right. Then, what is my definition here? It is defined as the extent to which you show and express clearly and strongly your feelings, demands, opinions, and attitudes to others. Your feelings, now I am tired. I feel like disinteresting. I feel like not going there. This is really disgusting. Are your feelings, examples of feelings? Then demands. I want to increase my salary by 10%. I want to get a holiday on tomorrow. Or something, examples of demands. Then opinions. The productivity of that group is not at good level. I hope if we work like this, the company is, going to be in a very bad situation. Examples of opinions. Decentralizing authority for employee selection is the better decision. An opinion. And then attitudes to others, right? Your feelings, your beliefs about others, attitudes to others. Okay, now I'm going to give you an instrument which you can use to measure assertiveness. Genuinely, you can try. You should use this one to measure your degree of assertiveness. Maybe for some items, not really. Now you may not have the relevant right experience. But anyway, you can assume that I will work if I become an employee, if I become a boss like that. Okay, you can do that. Then let me do this one, with regard to myself. I believe in that there is no use of asking for favors. I get what I deserve. Rather than using myself, let me analyze this. I believe in that there is no use of asking for favors. I get what I deserve. As far as this item is concerned. Okay? As far as, let me respond like this. Strongly agree. Then as far as this item is concerned, am I assertive or I am not assertive? Am I not assertive or am I assertive? Strongly agree. Strongly agree. Or here, assert, strongly disagree. Strongly disagree means assertive. Strongly agree means not assertive. Okay, so therefore, ideally, your response should be like this. Strongly disagree. Then if my bill of buying some goods or service is even, yes, rupees 50 more than it should be, I demand the relevant person to correct the mistake. Can you understand this one? Again, මොනවාරි බඩුවක් ගන්න ගිහපුවාම ඉතින් බිල අපි හිතමු ආ බිල රුපියල් 50කට වඩා වැඩි. sorry රුපියල් 50කින් වැඩි. ඉතින් දැන් ඒක correct කරන්න කියලා අදාළ පුද්ගලයාට කියනවා. So that you will be able to, you will not be able to pay this 50 unnecessarily. You don't want to pay this 50 unnecessarily. So I demand, that's why you demand the relevant person to correct the mistake. Strongly agree, assertive. Strongly disagree, not assertive. In fact, here very assertive. Here, very non-assertive. Highly non-assertive. This one, assertive. Non-assertive. Neither assertive, nor non-assertive. Here. Okay? If you have a question, you can raise it. If I am angry owing to behavior of someone, I express it to that person in a non-hurting way. Strongly agree, yes. Non-hurting way, not in a hurting way. In a hurting way, sorry. Assertiveness, yes. Not aggressiveness, okay? If this one, assume there is I demand the relevant person to correct the mistake, right? If I am angry owing to behavior of someone, I express it to that person in a non-hurting way, right? If you express it to that person in a hurting way, that is aggressiveness. Aggressiveness. Now forget about that term, aggressiveness. That is non-assertive. Assertive, you express, but in a non-hurting way. Right, then if someone disturbs me by making noise, I go and tell the person to stop it. Strongly agree, idea. Increasing assertiveness. Too many lectures, Right. I want to speak at a meeting, I will do so. I want to speak at a meeting, I will do so. Strongly agree. Then කතා කරන්න ඕන නම් කතා කරනවා. ඒක තමයි assertiveness එක කියන්නේ. දැන් කතා කරන්න ඕනේ තමන්ගේ මොකක් හරි human right එක රැක ගන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒක විනාශ වෙනවා යනවා නම් ඒක නවත්තන්න. So if I want to speak at a meeting, I will do so. දැන් එහෙම නොකර ඉන්නවා නම් ඒ කියන්නේ assertiveness නෑ. එහෙම leader කෙනෙක් වෙන්න බෑ කවදාවත්. This is about improving leadership. This is about solving problems. This is about protecting your human rights. This is about protecting your well-being, your standard of living. This is about, not letting others exploit you. අනිත් අයට තමන්ව සූරා කන්න ඉඩ දෙන එකක් නෙමෙයි. assertiveness කියන්නේ. එහෙම ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැති එක. ඉඩ දෙනවා නම් assertiveness නැහැ. Then you will never become a leader. Successful. You can become a leader, but not a successful leader. I insist on my partner or roommate to do his or her fair share of chores. Chores can, chores or chores, right? ඒ කියන්නේ එදිනෙදා කරන්න තියෙන වැඩ. කාමරය අතු ගන්න තියෙනවා, පිය දාන්න තියෙනවා නෙවෙයි. සමහර රෙදියෝ දාන්නත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් තමන් කරනවා අනිත් එක්කෙනා කරන්නේ. ඉතින් එහෙම බෑනේ දෙන්නෙක් එකට ජීවත් වෙනවා නම් දෙන්න කරන්න ඕන. යාළුවෝ. So I insist on my partner or roommate to do. Then husband and wife, that's a different case. Husband and wife, that's a different case. Right? So then I insist on my partner or roommate to do his fair share of chores. They strongly agree. The highest level of assertiveness as far as this item is concerned. If I find a good which I bought is defective, I return it. Because damage. If the answer is yes, strongly agree, then you have high level of assertiveness. Strongly disagree, no assertiveness. You are very passive then. Passiveness, I will come to that later. It is difficult for me to express love and affection toward another person. If you express your love towards another person or affection towards another person, then you have assertiveness. After having arguments with a person, I try to avoid him or her. Strongly agree means reducing assertiveness, very low level of assertiveness as far as this item is concerned. So strongly disagree, at least here. I experience an injustice, if I experience an injustice from a person, I will bring it to that person's attention. Strongly agree. Okay, all right. So therefore, here, yes, here the interpretation, you can see numbered 1, 8, and 9 are negative statement. They are the statement which will reduce the degree of assertiveness. 1, 8, 9. Check whether I have done it correctly. 1, right, 8. It is difficult for me, but it is difficult for me to express love and affection towards another. Strongly agree means increasing assertiveness. Okay. I mean, it is difficult for me. Reducing assertiveness. So therefore, ideal answer should be here. Strongly disagree. It is not difficult for me to express love and affection towards another person. Okay, it is not difficult. Make a note to. Sorry, it is difficult. It is not difficult. It is difficult for me to express. Express කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට තමයි assertiveness එක තියෙන්නේ. If you are an assertive person, you can express your love, your affection toward another person. If you can't, that means you are not assertive. Right, then number 9 also, no? After having arguments with a person, I try to avoid him or her. Yes, right. Ideally here, here also, this one also no problem. Others are, yes, positive statement, increasing the degree of assertiveness. I think you are familiar with this type of teaching. May style now you are familiar with this. Even under what is called personality, I did several measurements relating to several personality traits. Right. So then try to be here. If you are female, at least you should be here. Otherwise, you will not be able to, be successful as a leader, especially as a leader. At least, okay, my advice, at least you should be here as a student. You should not be here Definitely you should not be right. Okay, now let me draw your attention to 3 types of behavior. First one is passive behavior, which I want to discourage within you. If you want to be, sometimes passive behavior is needed. Definitely, be intelligent. Sometimes this is needed. But if you want to be a successful leader, then this is not good. Being passive is not good if you want to be a successful leader. So this involves not acting in order to protect one's own rights and comforts. It is an avoidance of behavior or an accommodation of the other party's wishes without standing up for one's own rights. If you are passive, you don't stand for your own human rights. Okay, you can't, you don't try to protect your own rights. The rights kila jati human rights ke. Yo monada kila jati danno hati itu mata dia. Oh, samara itu eka podda kaulai itu danne. Anyway, dari yam දේවල් අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න තමන් අසාධාරණයක් වෙනවා නම් කියන්නේ තමන් කැමති රස්සාවක් කරන්න තමන් රස්සාවෙන් අයින් වෙන්න human rights යම් කිසි දෙයකට තමන් qualified නම් ඒකට apply කරන්න. I assume there is a government job and then you realize that you are indeed an appropriately qualified person, and then you can apply. If someone comes and then stops you applying, then that person is violating your human rights. Tamang kamiti pradeshe vase karan. So like, okay, all right. Then others tend to take advantage of the passive person. That's why, if you engage in passive behavior, then of course others, come and take advantage. Others will, defeat you definitely. Then aggressive behavior. This behavior is demanding, tough, rude, and pushy. And aggressive people are very competitive, hate to lose to the point of cheating, and tend to violate the rights of others to get what they want. If I am aggressive, I do many things, by violating your rights. Can you remember Machiavellianism or Machiavellianism? Another personality trait, can you remember a personality trait? Machiavellianism or Machiavellianism. That is indeed aggressive. Aggressive personality type. Then passive aggressive behavior. There's something called passive aggressive behavior. So in 3 major ways. This can happen in 3 major ways. According to Professor Lucia, the person uses both types of behavior sporadically, using here and there. Sporadically කියලා කියන්නේ එක වෙලාවකට යොදනවා අනිත් වෙලාවකට නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ එක වෙලාවකට passive, තව වෙලාවකට aggressive. Okay, at a time, at one time you become passive, at another time you become aggressive. You become aggressive. Okay, the person uses both types of behavior. The second major way, the person uses passive behavior during the situation, then shortly after uses aggressive behavior. Then in front of me, you use passive behavior, then after finishing this lecture, you use aggressive behavior to another person. That is, one major way under passive aggressive behavior. Then the third major way, the person uses passive behavior, but inside is building up hostility. Then ඇතුලේ වෛරය ගොඩනැගෙනවා. නමුත් පිටට දාන්නේ සද්ද නැතුව ඉන්නවා, මොකුත් කියන්නේ නැහැ, බයෙන් ඉන්නවා, ලැජ්ජාවෙන් ඉන්නවා, එහෙම පෙන්නනවා. There's no any behavior against the other person. Assume who is scolding you, who is behaving in a bad way towards you. But within, inside, assume I am behaving in a very bad way to you. You don't tell anything to me. You keep silence. That is passive behavior in which you are engaged. But inside, within you, hostility is building up. Hostility. Why? It is more than anger. It is long-term anger. Right. Then, of course, assertive behavior, which I discussed. Okay, so this behavior is generally the most effective method of getting what you want while not taking advantages of others. According to Professor Lucia, let me give these things, very useful. The most effective method of getting what you want while not taking advantages of others. And the assertive person expresses feelings and thoughts and asks for things without aggressive behavior. Feelings, are expressed. Thoughts are expressed by an assertive person. An assertive person asks for things, but not in the way that is aggressive. It is a non-hurting way. It is a non-aggressive way. Also not a passive way. Then passive way, the kelima silent, illanne. Then ඔයගොල්ලෝ break එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ පාසලට කේන්ති ඇයිද දන්නේ නැහැ. මෙයා දන්නේ break එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ සර් තාම යෝගනේ කිව්වේ නැහැ නෝ. ගන්නනෝ. අමාරු දේවල් අහලත් නැහැ. එහෙම නැත්නම් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ නැත්නම් එහෙම හිතන්න අපි assume that in that way. So I am teaching you without giving any break and teaching new concepts which you have never learned. And some are difficult for you to learn, for you to get, for you to understand really fully. Then you want to get a break. You want to get a break. Even though there's a need seriously within you, but you don't, tell anything. You don't, stop and then, please excuse me, sir. No any response. Please excuse me, sir. May we get a rest? You don't, respond in that way. That means you are passive. You are passive. You are engaging in passive behavior. Thank you. Sorry, sir. Sir. Sorry, sir. We want to get a break. Could you please give me or give us, a break for 10 minutes, at least 5 minutes? Assertive behavior. So you're, so in a non-hurting way. So your behavior doesn't hurt me. Your behavior still shows the respect. Your behavior is acceptable. Also, you want to, you want to have a rest, or you want to have a drink, or you want to go to toilet. Human right. Going to the toilet is a human right. Having a glass of water is a human right. It's a human right. Understand? Right. So if you are assertive, you can, you create a win-win situation. Right. You stand up for your rights without violating others' rights. You don't let others control your behavior. An example. Assume that you are talking to a group of people. One person starts to disturb you. What do you do? Okay, I will stop my reading, my saying, okay, my speaking. You try to understand option 1, option 2, and option 3. Right. My question is now understood. My question is, which response is assertive? Which option, or indeed option has the response? All these there are three options. Each has a response. Right. Which option is assertive? Which option is aggressive? Which option is passive? Which option is assertive? Which option is passive? Which option is aggressive? Aggressive, assertive, passive. This one is passive. No, this one is assertive. This one is aggressive. This one is passive. So therefore, you are encouraged to follow option 3. All right? Any questions? Right, now go to this one. Try to understand understand this scenario 1, situation 1. In class, you are in a small group discussing this exercise. However, 2 of the members are talking about personal matters instead. You are interested in this exercise. Which one is assertive? Which one is non-assertive, passive? Which one is aggressive? This one, don't you want to learn anything in this class? Yes? A, don't you want to learn anything in this class? Aggressive. Forget the exercise, join the conversation. Forget the exercise, join the conversation. Passive. Passive. This is a valuable exercise. I would really appreciate your input. Assertive. Assertive. D, this exercise is boring, isn't it? Passive. E, stop discussing personal matters or leave the class. Aggressive. All right. So your actions, So, you can consider these are your actions. This is a problematic situation. Then your alternative actions available for you to take. Right. Go to number 2. This situation. You and your roommate do not smoke. Smoke really bothers you. However, your roommate has friends over who smoke in your room regularly. Right. Press action A. Throw them out of your room. That is aggressive. B. Purposefully cough, repeatedly saying, I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. That is also aggressive. More likely aggressive. Then C. Ask your roommate to have his guest refrain from smoking or meet at a different place. Ask, Because you are supposed to protect your human rights. You have to tell your demand, but in a non-hurting way. This action is assertive. Ideally, you have to follow this one. Here, you have to follow this one. Assertive one. Then complain to your favorite professor. D, that is passive. Do and say nothing, that is passive. You know, if you follow passive, then these people will continue. Then you will have, you know, bad consequences of second smoke. Or, you know, inactive smoking. But still there is smoke. Right. You have to stop that really in a non-hurting way. Then third situation. Your boss has repeatedly asked you to go get coffee for the members of the department. It is not part of your job responsibility. Okay, getting coffee for the members of the department, that's not a duty according to your job description. But your boss has repeatedly asked you to do that. Then what is your response? It is not part of my job. Why don't we set up a rotating schedule so that everyone has a turn? Everyone has a turn. This is assertive. Go get it yourself. Aggressive. Continue to get the coffee. Passive. File a complaint with the personnel department or the union. That is aggressive, you know. Complaining. Then E, why don't we skip coffee today? Passive. Why don't we skip coffee today? More likely passive. Then the ideal action is this one. If you don't get, please ask questions. Be assertive, you know, to ask a question. If you don't understand, don't be passive. Also, of course, you are not supposed to be aggressive. Maybe you may, okay, for the first time, maybe you decide to, because it is boss now. So normally maybe there may be a person here. For the first time, the person does. For the second time, the person does. For the third time, the person does. Then for the fourth time, the person uses this one. The person uses this one. Oh, there may be another person listening to me. If that person actually faces this type of thing, then for the first time, that the person, you know, does this. For the second time, the person does. For the third time, the person uses this one, takes this action. That is assertive. Or depending on your, you know, respect to the boss, and depending on your power, depending on your tiredness, your contribution, your performance, your relationship with peers, or you can make a joke, something like, you know, why don't we set up a rotating schedule so that everyone has a turn? Can you develop another one instead of this, which is also assertive? Okay, this time I will do this. But last time also I did. I hope here there are my friends, my colleagues, and then each one will contribute to doing this, because I believe they are my friends. Something like that. That's also assertive, but indirectly telling, you know, to change the behavior of others. But of course, if you want to, if you are supposed to use, you know, I mean, if you are supposed to take an assertive action, you have to tell it in a direct way, you know, not an indirect way. Don't forget that, not an indirect way. But in a direct way, you have to tell that. If there is something which is happening unfairly, directly you have to, you know, tell it, and you have to draw the attention of the relevant people to that, but in a non-hurting way. Maybe first you can respect, you can thank, and then you can come. Okay, then this situation 4. You are riding in a car with a friend. You are nervous because your friend is speeding, changing lanes frequently, and passing in no passing zones. Yes, passing in no passing zones. Now, what is your action? Are you trying to kill me? That action A, that is aggressive. That is aggressive. Then what did you think of Professor Lucia's class today? Forgetting about what is going on, not concentrating on what is going on. This is, speed diving. So, the friend, you are riding in a car with a friend, right? You are nervous because of the friend is, engaging in speedily driving. That is dangerous, really. Then, yes, this is okay. Then this response is passive. This one, please slow down and stay in one lane. This is assertive. Try not to look where you are going. This is passive. Stop driving like this, or let me out right here, or let me get out right here, right now. That is aggressive. All right. Okay, now situation 5. You are in a department meeting to decide on the new budget. You are in a meeting, department meeting to decide on the new budget. However, some of the members are going off on tangents and wasting time. Tangents kila kena diverging, diverging. Venat pattakada yomu vena venat anamana kataga. Tangents and wasting time. Your boss has not said anything about it. Your boss has not said anything about it. What is your action? Don't say anything. After all, it is your boss meeting. The boss game meeting again. Boss monot can not thank the Mama. Don't say anything. After all, it is your boss meeting. Is this action what? Passive? Assertive? Of course, passive. Then B. So far we agree on X, Y, Z, and we still need to decide on ABC. Does anyone have any ideas on these line items? Indeed, this is assertive. Indeed, this is assertive. Okay. Then action C. Let us stop wasting time and stay on the subject. Aggressive. D. Let us just what so we can get out of here. Aggressive. Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. Passive. Passive. Okay, now situation 6. One of your co-workers repeatedly tries to get you to do her work with all kinds of excuses. One of your co-workers, there were assignments. One of your co-workers repeatedly tries to get you to do her work with all kinds of excuses. Do the work. Action A. That is passive. That is passive. That means you let the other person exploit you. Then B. I have no intention of doing your work, so please stop asking me to do it. Aggressive. Then bustle. Do it yourself. Freeload. Definitely aggressive. I would like to do it for you, but I am tired up right now. I would like to do it for you, but I am tired up right now. Passive. Still, this is passive, not assertive. Get away from me and don't bother me again. This is also aggressive, no? Get away from me and don't bother. This one, yes. I have no, this one is assertive, really. Yes, this is the assertive response, assertive action. I have no intention of doing your work, yes. So please stop even using please. Stop asking me to do it. This is assertive. Right, situation 7, you bought a watch. It doesn't work. So you return to the store with the receipt. The sales clerk says you cannot exchange. Insist on the exchange. Talk to the person's boss and his or her boss if necessary. If necessary. This is assertive. Leave with the watch. This is passive. Drop the watch on the counter and pick up a new watch and walk out. This is aggressive. Come back when a different sales clerk is there. This is passive. Create a scene. Yell and get other customers on your side. Disrupt business until you get the new watch. This is indeed aggressive. Very aggressive. Okay, now situation 8. You are about to leave work and go to see your child perform in a play. Assume you are a parent, having a child. Your boss comes to you and asks you to stay late to do a report she needs in the morning. In the morning. Okay. Then A, sorry, I am on my way to see a play. To see a play. This is aggressive, kind of. Yes. B, I would be happy to stay and do it. Indeed, passive. Are you sure I cannot do it tomorrow? Are you sure I cannot do it tomorrow? Kind of, yes, passive. Yes. D, I am on my way to see a play. Can I take it home and do it later tonight? This is assertive. Why should I get stuck here? Why don't you do it yourself? This is indeed aggressive. Hurting the relationship. You believe that cheating is wrong. Your roommate just asks you if he could copy the homework you spent hours preparing. Homework you spent hours preparing. Here you go. Action A. That is passive. I don't help cheaters. That is aggressive. Okay, if you don't copy it word for word. This is also passive, you know. Okay, if you don't copy it word for word. Then D, I would like to help. Here you go. This is passive. I don't help cheater. This is aggressive. Okay, if you don't copy it, this is also passive. I would like to help you. You are my friend, but in good sense, I cannot. Yeah, this is assertive. You go out and have a good time. Then you expect me to be a fool and get you off the hook. No way. This is indeed aggressive. Right, the last one now. Situation 10. Some people, you know, stop by your dorm room, you know. Assume you are getting, you are in hostel, and one of them pulls out some drugs, you know, takes some and passes them along. You don't take drugs. Then response A, or action A, I don't approve of taking drugs. You can get me into trouble. Please put them away or leave. This is aggressive. Grab them and get rid of them. Passive. Take some drugs because you don't want to look bad. Passive. Pass them along without taking any. Pass them along without taking any. Aggressive. Then E, are you trying to kill yourself? Get out of here with that stuff. I think this is aggressive, yes. This is aggressive. I think this one is assertive, yes, correct. This one is assertive. I don't approve of taking drugs. You know, you express your opinion. You can get me into trouble. You will, you will tell about the consequence directly to the other person or the relevant people. Please put them away, even using, in a non-hurting way, please. Put them away or leave. This is assertive, correct. Okay, all right. Now, the time is 8:26, yes. I think this is enough, yes. Any questions? Any questions? Are you all right? Okay, then today, mainly I did two things. Transaction analysis, TA, and assertiveness. Assertiveness as a very important competence, especially for being a successful leader, successful manager. Okay, then dear students, this is enough for today. See you as usual through the Zoom in the future. Take care. Good night.
Thank you, sir.